All right. Before I begin, let me pose this question. Do you think that Rotten Tomatoes is a terrible gauge on the audience reactions and like the general consensus of like where a show is going and how well it's doing? Kevin can fuck himself. Oh, okay. I just want to know, like, what you think. Is Rotten Tomatoes a reliable source so far as the quality of a show or movie? Sometimes we can get a good feel for like how people think of something. It's if it's not in the public eye as much. uh, only murders in the building, 99%. Dark Winds, 100%. Huh. Never heard of either one of those. But damn, they see. I see that and I think they must be pretty good. Like Dark Winds, that's the show with the Native Americans, right? It's like a murder mystery, I think. Only Murders in the Building. That's the one with it's like a comedy, but sort of a thriller too. I think with Martin Short and Steve Martin. But anyways, I'm here to talk about She-Hulk and Rings of Power because people on the internet are claiming that they're both being review bombed, and I want to know what you think. Is this a legit fear? Is this a legit complaint? 'Cause, I have seen both of these shows, and I can tell you right now, She Hulk is not good. It's not well written at all, and they spend a lot of the time shitting on men and like trying to prop her up to be this good person, but she comes off as a bitch. Like the way she treats her cousin, the way she treats other people around the office and stuff, like, and just very entitled, very full of herself. And I know this is what I know She Hulk was kind of like confident in the comics only after she became She Hulk, but she was still caring and empathetic, especially to Bruce. Like she understood what he was going through and stuff. But in this show, she doesn't seem to understand shit. Uh, so that's my takeaway from this show. Like, and it's ridiculous. You've seen, I'm sure you've seen the clips of her twerking and whatnot. Like, and and the show even admits like this is just a cameo show. Like it's and the writers admitted that they don't know how to write court drama, so they kind of steer away from that whole aspect of the show. But that was what they were touting the show to be, was a court show. Like okay, why didn't you get people that like were actually experienced with court dramas to write this if you wanted that aspect of the show to come out? But regardless, it's I mean, I'm hoping they kind of give her some kind of development. So far, it seems like she hasn't learned a thing. Like she's just automatically good at everything, better than Bruce. Yeah, it's taken a lot of people off. I've seen that. And Bruce, they've really downgraded. Like now, he can get hit with a jeep and fly like like 50 feet. So I wanted to look and see at some of these. Um, this should be the user ones, the audience reviews. Yeah. Boring and pointless. When did the Hulk become such a loser? 1 star. Half star. La serie es una auténtica curada. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it's something bad. Because that's half a star. Half a star. 3 episodes in and still waiting for the jokes. Yeah, I did not hardly laugh at this show. Main character complains about being mistreated and catcalled as more severe trauma than the suicide attempt of her cousin. Yeah, that was. Woo, it's like the writers haven't watched the other movies or anything. Like they don't know, what this guy went through. The episodes are far too short. It's just okay. That's 2.5 stars. So you're seeing some of these like really, really low so far. Half a star, half a star, half a star, 1 star. Very weak series, 1 star. I think my point of view is a weak comedy with unnecessary themes. Half star. Forgive them for they know not what they do. This phrase describes it the best. But here's a 5 star one. A real wonderfully witty and lighthearted entry into the MCU that follows in the footsteps and spirit of the comics. Well written, well acted, overall superb. Now, let's see. Can we look at the full thing? I wonder. Or does this just take me to his user page? User ID. Yeah, that might be all of it. Yeah. No user info supplied. So I guess that was someone that wasn't actually registered on here. They just hopped on there to give the review. They don't actually have an account with Rotten Tomatoes. Refreshing, funny, and both my wife and I love it. Doug F. That's 5 stars. 1 star. It gladdens me to know that Odin prepares for a feast. Soon I shall be drinking ale from curved horns. This hero that comes into Valhalla does not lament his death. I shall not enter Odin's hall with fear. There I shall wait for my sons to join me, and when they do, I will bask in their tales of triumph. The Aesir will welcome me. My death comes without apology, and I welcome the Valkyries to summon me home. What was that even about? I don't know if he's is he quoting from Thor: Love and Thunder? Because I haven't seen that, or like from the actual mythology. 3 stars. CGI is what it is, but for me, it doesn't matter that much. One problem that I see is that this story focuses too much in laws, and that is mostly talking pretty boring at some point. Yeah, they don't even focus on the laws that much. Like it's mostly talking about the plight of women and how men are bad, and like and Blonsky, he's gotten out and he's going to these fight clubs, and he's talking about his feelings now because they've totally changed Abomination's character from the Incredible Hulk. Like he was badass in the Incredible Hulk, as was the Hulk. The show was bad. I didn't really like this show. 1/2 star. But that's very elaborative. Yeah, 1/2 star. There's a lot of 1/2 stars. It looks like. Woo. Yeah, a bunch of these are. She-Hulk had all the makings to be really good. All the side characters you could have wanted in a show where the MCU breaks the fourth wall occasionally, being under the almighty Disney brand, you can imagine. Even so, they decided to spend 3 episodes bashing 50% of their potential audience. Yeah, and their comic audience. I don't care how you feel about that, but I implore you to think how you would feel if the show did the exact same thing, but if the sides were flipped. To say you wouldn't feel the same is just hypocritical and just disingenuous. You are part of the problem. I can see where this guy's come from. Oh Lord, some more 1/2 stars. But look, here's a see. You're seeing opposite opposite sides of the spectrum. You're seeing 1/2 star, 1 star, and then you see 5 star ones. Like there's hardly any in between when it comes to these reviews. So it might be being review bombed on both sides. Positively and negatively review bombed, which I've heard is also something that's happening with the Rings of Power. Like, you got people just shitting on it constantly, and then you got people just trying to prop it up, trying to get the score back up. So this has gone on with other things before. I know it's gone on with Captain Marvel, with Star Wars movies, and Star Wars shows like Obi-Wan. And I guess this is just an endless cycle that we're going to keep seeing being repeated. 5 stars. Really digging this show. I haven't been enjoying some of the other MCU shows like Moon Knight, Hawkeye, or WandaVision. This show is just fun. It reminds me of the Burn run on She-Hulk I read as a kid. She's tough but keeps her intelligence. Looking forward to seeing where this show goes. I mean, that's fair. 1/2 star. It is absolutely terrible. A disgrace to the endgame and the final scene with Thanos. I don't know what he's referring to. Like, I don't know why he's referring to that. Like, what that has to do with She-Hulk. 1/2 star. Terrible CGI and writing. I would be surprised to see a She-Hulk season 2. Well, they're probably going to turn one out. Prepare to be disappointed. 1/2 star. Bad script writing and not funny at all. Give the show a big miss. I mean, I agree with the bad script writing. It's like they don't know how to write men. That's for sure. Steady. I'm not even gonna attempt that one. 3 stars. Okay, we got one that's like moderate. It doesn't bother me at all. I just look at it as comedy. Yeah. You can like it, you can not like it. It doesn't matter. It's all subjective. 1 star. Bad CGI, premise, plot, acting, dialogue, ideas. See, some people can go into a show, and just like turn their brain off and not give a fuck about it. And that's why I've kind of checked out on MCU because the writing's got so bad, so convoluted too, and like nobody's like sharing notes, like they used to do with the first 3 phases. Half a star. Fiona, Fiona, he calls. Damage the origins of Hulk. What a sad Marvel. We don't want more character changes. Like half a star. I could give it a 0 if I could. Okay, so half a star I guess is the lowest you can give something. Yeah, and a lot of people are giving it the lowest rating. Half a star. If you like cringe and double standard, this show is for you. Half a star. Fiona's cosplay. 1 star. Boring and pointless. When did the Hulk become such a loser? That he has a point. Okay, yeah, that one I saw. Very weak series, I think. Yeah. Yeah, this one I saw. That's the one I read. I was like, what the fuck is that? Oosh. Half a star. Wow, this was impressive on how bad it was. CGI is absolutely terrible, and the twerking scene totally buried in any credibility the writers had. I don't think they had any to begin with, honestly. But yeah, because you look at this and you look at a show like Better Call Saul. That was superbly written. That was superbly directed, acted, everything. And this just seems like they had to get it out like really quick, and they just took all the first takes, and the CGI wasn't quite up to par. I don't think. It's like they put all their effort into the first episode, and now every subsequent episode is going to be just lower tier quality wise. Seriously, what's happened to Marvel? Marvel was great 3 years ago. This show is terrible. 2 stars. Okay, there's one that's not a half a star at least. Not particularly funny for a sitcom. Lacks class and sophistication. Sophistication. CGI is very ordinary for this day and age. Half a star. Pretty bad show. Disney should go back a couple years and follow their previous movies as a template. So people are really not liking this. There's hardly any above a half a star that I found so far. 2 stars. I love Tatiana Maslany. She's such a good actress. I just feel this show has let her down. It's straight out boring with vague storytelling, no character development, and everything just feels rushed in 3 episodes in, and I am still now not sure where is the whole plot heading to. Moreover, the CGI in the episode 3 was so poor, felt like watching or playing Tomb Raider 2005. Why can't Marvel make shows like the Netflix's Daredevil or The Peacemaker? So disappointing. Damn, when you're saying that some of DC's stuff is better than Marvel, that's pretty sad. I love DC, but man, they cannot get their universe off the ground. The Top Hat Gentleman for 1 star. I love the original She-Hulk comics. This is not that. The writing is bad, the acting is stale, and they definitely cut back the budget on the CGI. In the end, I just got bored of the main character constantly putting the Hulk down and how she is better at everything. Yeah, that's what kind of turned me off too. If it had an actual good story, I would be able to look past the CGI, but it does not. Saul M for 1 star. Very cringe. The writing is absolutely terrible. This is rock bottom for the MCU. A lot of people are saying that. Like, what happened to the old Hulk, man? We need him back. The old Hulk from the Incredible Hulk. Or even just the Avengers movie, the first one. Like, was badass. And what happened to the MCU in general, man? They've just gone downhill lately. Is is Marvel? It's good, no, but She-Hulk and Kamala Khan are bad superheroes. 2 stars. Half a star. Not even gonna pretend I take this show seriously. This is just trolling for Marvel at this point. It seems like it. It seems like it. And remember that quote from what's his name that directed Thor: Love and Thunder? Taika Waititi Said like, I'll ruin your lore in a minute. I'll ruin your canon in a minute. Something like that. It's like, ooh boy, that is not a good look. Okay. No, where was I? Oh yes. So we got, yeah, this franchise needs a serious 180 if they want to salvage things. If you thought the CGI was bad, wait until you get a taste of the plot or lack of and script. And then 5 stars. The MCU goes from strength to strength with great depth of variety in its shows. Its first full comedy shines with Tatiana's amazing acting and a fun and engaging storyline. 3.5 stars. A good comedy series, far from a great MCU changer. She-Hulk brings a little episodic stories. What learn English. 1 star. 1 star. I watched the first episode, and by the 10-minute mark, I was browsing news on my phone. Not only was the plot not compelling, but the CGI and dialogue felt like they were out of a Ubisoft video game. Feels like a low-effort cash grab production. Also, Bruce yelled every line of the episode. Very strange. It's so bad. It's so cringe. This is peak MCU. This is why Disney keeps losing subscribers. The writing is just awful. Loving it. Like to the next is like, loving it. So yeah, the fan base is pretty much split on this one. But it's mostly leaning towards people not liking it. Now, let us check in with the Rings of Power. Rings of Power. Yes. That one. Damn you, search engine. If it would cooperate. Oh, you know what I want, you bastard. You bastard. 2022 to the present. Holy shitballs. Well, yeah, that's lower than She-Hulk even. Wow. Wow. I mean, I knew this would be pretty bad because I knew they were like deviating from the lore, and then the writers, the J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, they couldn't even get a credit on Star Trek Beyond. That's how bad their writing is. So, like, look at this. Let's look at their freaking. Let's see. It's core details. 40. Yeah. I want to look and see. Oh, let us see if they show us the critics scores. Showy and splashy, this ambitious series begins in a spectacular manner, but it must now develop the diverse ensemble's interactions and individual story arcs in order to sustain audience enthusiasm. Alright. The Rings of Power has a visual distinction and vibe entirely of its own. Do you think we mischaracterized the critic's review? Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see the full review on this. Okay. Hey. Oh yeah. Let me full screen that. Yes. If there's one thing that Peter Jackson's exhaustive adaptation of The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy in all its extended version glory has taught us, there's not a speck in J.R. Tolkien's voluminous, vivid writing that cannot be stretched into a saga. And it could not be reiterated any more so than in the author's meticulously prepared appendices inspiring the costliest production in television history. See, they bought the rights to the appendices because there's not much like dialogue and I want to say detail to them. There's a lot of this happened, and then that happened, and then this happened that led to this happening. There's room in between for the Amazon to fuck around, and that's what they're doing. Showrunners Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne have likened the experience of drawing on Tolkien's literature like walking in a cave. Everywhere we tap our chisel, there's gold. We'll see. As precious these postscripts are, Amazon's challenge to recreate Middle-earth for streaming wasn't ever going to stop it shelling out millions in acquiring rights. The beloved canon's legion of fans, purists and loyalists, sticklers for the written word and adapted, are a tough lot to please. Yeah, no shit. You're seeing that right now, Amazon. Given the groundbreaking impact of Jackson's movies on cinema and CGI, expectations loomed high. Not to mention filming in the middle of a raging pandemic came with its own set of problems. Yeah, they had to move from New Zealand to England, I believe, and make their own studio because they have such strict COVID restrictions in New Zealand right now, Australia too. Yet with gilded confidence and lofty ambitions, Amazon Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power kicks off the first season on a spectacularly eager note. Based on the 2 episodes of a total 8, I saw the sheer scale and grandeur of the series on display. Almost a trilogy-sized season makes everything else on streaming look like cutesy dioramas. But I tread with caution. Many biggies have fizzled after a promising start. I actually think House of the Dragon looks better than this. This is way more CGI heavy, and I don't really care for that. Like, I want to see actual sets, like, and stuff, because that's what Peter Jackson got done so well. With the trilogy was he mixed the sets, the practical with the CGI, almost seamlessly. Like that shit still holds up, and that was in 2004. Was the last one? Yeah. And some of this new show looks wonky. Can the Rings of Power maintain the momentum or complete its course of a 5 seasons arc as originally planned? We'll just have to wait and find out. Nothing is evil in the beginning, reminds Galadriel in a voiceover, offering a summary of events until where our story begins, much like Kate Blanchett's Lady of Light. Except this Galadriel, portrayed by Morphic Cart, is a young, feisty warrior elf yet to grow into the calm, clever gossamer dream etched in our memory. Yeah, this Galadriel is nothing like the real Galadriel. like, I'm hoping they develop her character more into what we know and love. But right now, she just seems like a real bitch. Like even worse than She-Hulk, I think. Like She-Hulk, I think. Like she can be swayed. It seems more so than Galadriel at this point. Galadriel's just like, no, I know better than you. Like you have not seen what I've seen. I've seen my share. You have not seen what I've seen. Like that dialogue alone is just stupid. Uh, and you see, Elrond is very subservient to her. Like, I mean, sure, we saw that sort of in the trilogy, like with everyone deferring to her, but that's only because she's like really powerful. She's a fucking witch, basically. She's a sorceress, and like the most powerful being in Middle Earth, besides like Sauron and Gandalf, of course. So yeah, this is just like going over the whole plot. May it be. It makes a little reference to the song from I think that was the first one. And yeah, nothing burger. Let's see, top critics. No top critic reviews. I'm trying to look at the critics, bro. I'd heard that Rotten Tomatoes was kind of suppressing the reviews uh because they thought they were being bombed. These shows, well, this show in particular. 2 stars. I absolutely love The Lord of the Rings. So far, the story is going nowhere. This should be better than the movies. This is where it all began. The rings are created. The worlds joined together for a cause. Very boring. Hoping it gets better. Don't know how Amazon plans on making 6 more seasons. Yeah, I was pretty bored in the first episode. Like, I almost fell asleep. I'm not lying. If you can't sleep at night, like me, it will help, but you should probably pass this one. It will never be a binge-worthy series like the movies. Game of Thrones went back in time and still has decent writing. This is a disaster. I quit and I quite enjoyed the visuals, especially when Kaza Doom was finally shown. Yeah, that was my favorite part. The dwarves. They're my favorite characters. It was a fantastic feeling to watch the minds in their glory. Problem is, one can't really follow the general plot, having to switch between one character to another, exactly like Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's the thing. Bezos wanted his Game of Thrones, and so that's why they're having all these stories go on at the same time. When they could have made three separate shows if they wanted, like show the fall of Numenor, show the forging of the Rings of Power, and show the rise of Sauron. Like you could have done all three of those, you know, and probably from different perspectives too. Like you could show the Rings of Power and the rise of Sauron like from two different perspectives if you wanted to. Um, what do I know? It was a fantastic feeling to watch the mind. Yeah, problem is, yeah, one can't follow the plot. The plot is divided between the different parties because they are still are part of the Fellowship of the Ring. In this TV series, the plot is also divided between different groups and protagonists, but they all lack unity. Yeah. Even though there might be one throughout the seasons, it can only arrive too late as the public could have turned their back from the show. What a pity. Yeah, I agree. Visually pretty nice, but so slow. Boring story, slow pacing, characters are one dimensional already, and motivations don't make sense, and plenty of overacting. The Irish hobbits are terrible. The Dwarf King was by far the best in the show. Only watch it if you need some background noise while you have other stuff to do. You got a five star. Perfect settings, characters, and involvement. Okay. 5 stars. Tolkien fans are toxic. Okay, that says nothing about the show though. This is a nothing review. Just trying to get the score up. Half a star. As a fan of the Silmarillion, Lord of the Rings, and everything written by Tolkien, I found this had nothing to do with anything Middle Earth. Pathetic cash grab. Yeah, it's mostly they're using the names that Tolkien came up with and just making their own story out of it. That's what it feels like. 2 stars. If you know absolutely zero of Tolkien's lore, then this can be a passable experience when you don't have anything better to do. Unfortunately for me, as someone who has read all of Tolkien's work, it is very lackluster and not even remotely close to the source material. Race swaps, poor acting, and atrocious pacing make this show a dredge. On the plus side, it was so boring I almost didn't pay attention to how messed up the lore and writing were. If you just want to watch something in a fantasy setting and are completely ignorant of the genre, then this is for you. Hope you enjoy. uh, what he says about race swaps, there were no race swaps really. They inserted some characters, some new characters that are I want when they say diverse, they really just mean non-white. So they're black characters, which they never were in Tolkien's Legendarium, except in the man man race, not in the elf race or the dwarf race. The hobbits, there were some darker skinned hobbits, but I think he meant like more Mediterranean. That who knows. Half a star. Waited so long for this to be released, only to be let down so painfully. Couldn't make it past the first episode with all the inconsistencies. This could have been breathtaking and magical. Instead, we got the abbreviated Clip Notes version. I've seen better written and produced fan videos on YouTube. And sad to say, I have to. 5 stars. So far, the show is great. The visuals are stunning. The 4 main storylines and characters quickly grab me and my family. Galadriel is tough and a real warrior. It's great seeing her as a younger elf. Elrond and the dwarves are interesting. How will their friendship and technologies progress? The pre-hobbits and the mystery men. Those aren't pre-hobbits, by the way. Those are hobbits, just from a different side of Middle-earth. They're called Harfoots, but there were 3 different types of hobbits: Harfoot, Stools, and Pharaohides. And this is one of them. The pre-hobbits and the mystery man from the sky so far has only raised questions, but the way this race lives in hiding and camouflage feels very different and Fey-like. And then the frightening return of evil with the elf soldiers and human settlers. This is a great show, and I love that the family can watch it together, unlike Game of Thrones or other shows. Can't wait for more. So you see, yeah, it's just the same thing with She-Hulk that we just saw. You got half stars or just stars, and then a lot of 5 stars too. Does not follow the original story at all. 1 star. 5 stars. It was great to revisit the places of my youth in Middle Earth. The finish really resembles the Peter Jackson elements of feeling. The acting is quite good and the scenery is full and beautiful. I've really enjoyed the portions of the season that I've seen and look forward to more. Half a star. Bad characters. I'm tired of bad writing just to check boxes we'll never learn. 5 star. Great take on the Lord of the Rings universe. Tasteful and not looking to farm nostalgia from fans. Takes its own original story and stays true and believable with the world made before. Best adaptation I didn't think was possible. I was looking to be critical and was blown away. Hope this is able to keep going. Looking forward to more. Great job to everyone involved in making this. Review bombers trying to get an amazing show canceled are brainless and degenerate. So see, look, it's people trying to balance the scales, so to speak, by putting a 5 star review in there. It's like they're at war with one another. 5 stars. 2 episodes in and can't wait for more. Love Mrs. Clark's smolder alongside an ensemble of characters, and I dig the adaptation so far. I respect my Tolkien purists, but the fresh take is intriguing, and I can't wait for Fridays once again. Half star. I fell asleep in the middle of episode 1. Very boring and insufferable. 1 star. Average Sci-Fi Channel CGI at best, with 25% of the CGI being nothing but filler. Then there's countless directorial and continuity mistakes, such as 25 people sailing across the vast waters in an open single-deck, single-mast sailboat with no navigational devices, shelter, or seating, with zero provisions like food and water. Yeah, that made no sense. Then there's the character with the ability to tread water and swim in open waters for what seems like days on end. Yeah, that was like 400 miles that she was swimming. That's, not even an elf could do that. Like, they'd tire and just fucking drown before they reached shore. While other characters hike hundreds of miles across barren lands again with zero provisions and no shelter, arriving at their destination in the blink of an eye. If billions were spent producing this disaster, then the producers need to be investigated by forensic accounts for fraud. Yeah, some of these shows, I'm sure, are like money laundering schemes because they don't seem to make money, you know. 1 star. I'd hope that this Amazon's spending like $1 billion on the show, like $50 million an episode. 1 star. I had hoped that this would be entertaining as an unintentional parody of Lord of the Rings. Unfortunately, it is so dull and slow and just not funny as parody. It ended up being just worthless, not even worth poking fun at. 5 star. Great start. I don't understand all the negative reviews. I'm super excited for more episodes. 5 star. Excellent so far. Good story and storytelling, and you just, that's a redundant sentence. Story and storytelling, that's the same thing. And the production value is fantastic. Okay, but you get the point. It's like you get a lot of 1 star, half star reviews, and then the other side's 5 star reviews. So what's the in between? What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments what you think. Are these shows being just bombarded by, you know, review bombers? I mean, it seems like it's on both sides of the spectrum. So, like, it doesn't even really matter because they kind of cancel each other out at this point. But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. And I don't see why anybody even pays attention to Rotten Tomatoes because, you know, the critics a lot of times are just bought and paid for. And then the audience are just, they're either really pissed off or they're like, this is the greatest thing ever, like over the moon for something. So you can't really, I don't think you can really judge this, at least when something is still fresh in the zeitgeist. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe come up with a system like that takes into account the audience and critic scores after, like maybe a year or so after something comes out. Maybe then give your score. Like you've been able to, you'll be able to sit on it and like ruminate for a little bit. Marinate. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and like, share, and subscribe if you feel like it. I'll see you on the next one.